Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome to Duck Talks number 38. And today I will answer not just the questions from my subscribers or people in the comment section from the previous episode, but I also want to talk about copyright claims, and I was involved in a few lately, and not just in the one direction but also in the other one. Then I want to just quickly express my thoughts on World War mode, then also the Dunkirk event, and yeah, also something that has changed on Thunder Show that I quite like. So let's begin with the questions. So first question comes from Comrades Angles, and it is Napalmratte, if you could only own one World War II era aircraft, what would it be and why? Well, yeah, it's not about the firepower, thankfully we live in peacetime, but pure for the styling points, it would be the TAR 152C3. I mean, just look at that plane, it's awesome, it's just such a beauty, I love it. And, we will see probably a bit of gameplay from that plane in the background sooner or later. Then the gamer formerly known as Manika asks, "Hi Napalm, can you share with the rest of us mortals what key bindings you use for mech?" Well, I am not a mech expert, I mainly just use it for cooling down the engine while climbing, so maybe it's a bit limited on my behalf, but I use the number block of my keyboard, activate it with 0 and deactivate it with 0, and the further key bindings, well, I might do a video on it sooner or later. Kartoffel 11 asks, when do you do a whole video in German? Well, maybe soon, because I'm very interested to redo a tank review on the Panzer IV F2 in proper German. Servus Michael, yeah, and I hope you will know why. Not just because the Panzer IV F2 is a fantastic tank, was the first one that more or less reliably could take out Russians with the standard shell, and it also is the first tank that I ever made a tank review on, which was completely different from what you see nowadays on my channel. The Nieno asks, Napalm, how many beers do you drink per day? Well, since I'm now in the training time of the year for Wacken, it's 2-3 beers per day after work, but it's also very refreshing when you have sweated a lot and you really feel how good beer really is for your body. And I'm not talking about drinking 10-20 of them per day. Just keep a sensible limit to it, and beer is good stuff. So, but like half a year ago I drank maybe one per week, so there's a difference in the outcome of the at the end of the day, which day it actually is. And then Front 2760 basically asks how high the beer costs are there in Germany. Well, it's quite a difference if you purchase a single bottle of 500 milliliters, so half a liter, or if you ask a box with 20 or 24 of them, because the overall box price is cheaper than the single bottle for bottle, okay? But the average price would be between 80 cents and €2.20 for a single bottle, and for a box it's somewhere between 10 euros, beginning with the acceptable stuff, and up to 18 euros for the rather expensive one. That's just beer, the normal beer. Craft beer is much more expensive. It costs up to 2 euros per single 0.33 liter bottle, so yeah, and it's not that good for just drinking it. It's special brewed and not my stuff. Next question from Jared Chris. Napalmratte, what mode would you recommend for grinding rank 5 Britain with the Carnarvon Centurion Mark III and Centurion Mark I? Well, they rely on APDS, so realistic is better, because in that mode APDS overall's performance is greater than in arcade due to the enemies, the circumstances, and the one-hit capability that you sometimes miss in arcade when you don't have APHE. But it always depends also what you are, you know, used to, and when you have suffered a long time with the previous tanks without reverse gear, you know, and high penetration quick firing guns, and now you switch to this monstrous 20-pounder and 17-pounder APDS rounds, then, you know, RB becomes much more enjoyable, believe me that. Then Captain Darkness asks, do you think British and some US tanks are better than German tanks at same BR? I know German tankers suck, but they also get a bit worse tanks, for example. US players suck, but get 2 good aircraft, like when I play British tanks, in most cases I end up being the first place of my team. Whoa, that's getting into a huge discussion, but I try to summarize it here. The problem with the Germans is that they once had very good tanks like the King Tiger and, you know, Jagdpanther and so on, with the really good Long 88 that also was stock grinding friendly, so to speak. And now we have switched around the meta completely. While nobody was playing the Americans because they actually had good tanks, but they couldn't go into direct head-on combat with Germans, they had to flank where they had really good tanks for that, like the Super Hellcat, the Hellcat, and many other additions also joined the game, like the M56. The Germans have no non-premium equivalent to that, and the RE251 alone can't lift all the weight, literally. So, you know, the Germans are doomed from the overall lineup. Furthermore, like, why was the Panther II really raised in battle rating from 6.7 to 7.0? The tank itself can hold itself, but the 6.3 and 6.7s, they suffer from that because now they have no punchy flanking opportunity. So the one tank that made the Germans really work, made them enjoyable, got lifted to 7.0, and at 7.0 you fight overall in a different environment with, in my opinion, many more up tiers. Now that will change undoubtedly with the next few patches. I have no information about the new patches, but I have no doubt that Gaijin is seeing the problem and is working on that. With what they are coming up, I don't know. Maybe some high tier fast half tracks, or, you know, armored fighting vehicles. I mean, the Germans have not even any kind of equivalent to the potato trucks that can rush into spawn zones. So maybe we should also, you know, think about that, because, for example, there are certain maps when you have the central capture point, you have already won the game because the rest of the match is just a sniping party. And I have certain ideas how to swing that around, but that needs a lot of effort, a lot of patience, and a lot of, you know, holding that target in sight. You will know what I'm talking about when you will see the video. I'm really working on it, and it's gonna be a good one, I promise you that. And then there is also the term German tankers suck. Yeah, it can't be that the entire player base that, you know, is very diverse and so on, then crystallizes itself out in good people that then just play the good tanks and bad people playing the so-called bad tanks. What really broke the neck for the King Tiger was the lack of flanking support by the Panther II. And, you know, people just refuse to go into 7.0 lineups. I mean, yeah, the lineup is great, no doubt about that, but how much grinding it involves to have those tanks, you know, worth going into combat with, so that, you know, you can rely on them. Like the APHE shell grind for the 10.5 centimeter King Tiger is something that German players are not used to. Then there's also the fact that the King Tiger got nerfed in its survivability. I mean, a long 90mm from an American tank punching through the turret front blows up the fuel tank at the bottom of the tank in like 80% of the cases. That's just ridiculous. And then you say, huh, look at this noob in the King Tiger, while he, you know, is in a meta that is so against this tank. I mean, I showed a video about Kursk with the King Tiger and I enjoyed it, but we got smaller and smaller maps with shorter and shorter combat engagements. This is going the World of Tanks approach, and I don't like that. Gaijin had a winning formula for that, and they lost a bit on it. So as far as I can tell, that was it with the questions. Now let's go to the copyright thing. Okay, a bit of background story. One of my subscribers told me that there was somebody out that was just stealing my videos, and when I say stealing, I mean that he just re-uploaded them, not changing the title, using no thumbnail at all, but you know, that's not the problem, and you know, giving me no credit for it. I never was asked if I'm okay with that from that guy, and you know, it was just a dumb copy. So then I had to do something about it, because that is my work. This is what the copyright system is for. You know, this is my work. I put my knowledge into those videos, my time, effort, editing time, gameplay time for the background footage, yada yada yada, you name it. So when somebody is just simply taking those videos and uploading him themselves, well, you know, this is something that I'm not okay with. So I tried to write to this guy to contact him and to say, put those videos down, or I will have to go through the effort of a copyright strike. So I said, I will give you 1 week time. I gave him 2 weeks. He didn't respond, so I struck him the first time. And you know, this is something that I'm not proud of, but I had to do it to save partially my channel from it, because if you know, people gets aware that I let that thing go through without punishment, you know, much bigger people in terms of YouTube might do that, or might get the idea. So, but before you think that I'm a mad chairman that strikes everybody down, let me clarify this. I also had to strike him the second time after an additional week, and he did not respond. Okay, and contacting this guy is not easy. Then but I think when I do that the third time, well, I think that's it with his channel. But that's not something heartbreaking, as his entire channel just consists of my videos. Now this is not some sort of tribute channel where somebody took my videos and edited from that, like I don't know, a compilation of funny quotes or stupid things that I said or whatever, which would be funny and I would be okay with. If you want a video footage from me, which is already on YouTube, you can do that as long as you ask me, I approve it, and you simply give me credit, and then you don't have to fear a copyright strike. But just simply stealing from me is not nice, and I will go into the actions of, you know, claiming my right, copyright claim. So, and then that brings me also that I got a few messages from YouTube before that was saying me that somebody or some of my videos were demonetized, and the same happened to Max lately, and he sorry, he also put that on Twitter, I guess, those funny screenshots, and this happened to me on 2 or 3 videos. So then I just had to simply click one or a few buttons, and it was redone, the looking for if it is, you know, ready for monetizing and such. And then afterwards they got re-monetized. I'm not quite sure how much money I lose, if I lose any money at all, but the few euros I earn are barely enough to cover my energy costs in the first place. So at this moment, YouTube is still a hobby for me, with a plus minus in terms of finances. Yeah, then let's go and let's talk about the World War mode. So World War mode in War Thunder was something that I really was looking forward. I expected that Enduring Confrontation is something like the forerunner, or you know, a test trial for World War mode, but it turns out from the video that I have seen that it is something different. And I will gladly take part once I get my chance. Now the clan I am in is small, and most of them are just casual players with working times, you know, that are disfavorable for, you know, taking part in something like World War mode. So we didn't even ask for participating. Again, it's just a pre-closed beta, something like that, or alpha test, whatever. And I am looking forward to it. And that brings me then to a very disappointing thing, and that was the Dunkirk event, and which was basically the Battle of Britain event. Michael Spoon made a video about it and said, yeah, basically it's boring. And that's the thing that Enduring Confrontation shouldn't be. I mean, the map size was okay, but, you know, for a fight for Dunkirk, there were no ships, there were too few players, it was a missed opportunity in its entirety. Just look at World of Warships, what they came up with you know, regarding of Dunkirk. Yeah, then the join in progress was not really nice, the rewards, the engagements, all that stuff is not really nice. So it was more of a lame version of the Battle of Britain with just a few players. And you know, if Gaijin would really have a heart for that, and they would put some development time in such an event, I mean, they have the maps, they have all the AI units already, you know, within their folders. They just have to do something about it, and this could be amazing. But something like this is just lazy, dull, and after 2 battles I just said, nah, that's it. That brings me then to the Thunder show, you know, the show from War Thunder itself on their YouTube channel. I quite like it. This is also a bit where you know, you can see what other peoples are doing, and also the shooting range. So those two are something that I regularly watch. I think it was the Thunder show or the I think it was the shooting range, episode 54, where they have now a new commentator, and that guy is awesome. I really like it. No hard feelings or bad feelings about the old one, which did a good job, don't get me wrong. But for War Thunder, with the style of the show, I think that is better fitting. I mean, you know, I'm not the one here going around and say, you have a bad voice, you have a good voice, but he's just much more fitting in my personal opinion. So there's that. Then there is one last topic before I round it up, and that has to do with Slickby. Now, I don't want to start here any drama, and I don't want to, you know, point with the finger at somebody and say yada 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 or something bad. But, you know, if I make a tank review or a video, I do it with my truest and honest opinion, and I do it with the experience that I personally got from playing it. And the Object 268 in particular was a very interesting tank that I actually gave quite an introduction to it. And maybe that introduction wasn't clear enough. I expected from the first look of it that it would be a Russian version of the Jagdtiger, but it isn't, because the mobility is so much better, because it's based off the T10M, which is one of the fastest, if not the fastest, heavy tank in the game, but certainly at higher tiers. So then when I changed my playstyle after playing 20 battles, which were not very enjoyable, I immediately got different results. I did a lot of practice shooting, of which you just saw a very small portion in the tank review itself. So, you know, excessive testing is something that I do once I think that it's worth doing, and the APHE shell on the Object 268 with the high caliber obviously has higher overmatch chances, semi-overmatch chances, and, you know, interaction rule, yeah, borders, so to speak, than, you know, other shells. Technically, there is also the FV4202, if I'm not mistaken, with the 183mm gun. I think I screwed it up here, and in fact it's the FV4005. Sorry about this. And that has a higher caliber, but it just shoots hash, so no real solid shot or APHE shot. So that would be really interesting, in my opinion, to have such a big gun with solid shots. But I mean, hash is good enough for that gun, to be honest. Yeah, and the Object 268, I had to do the tank review with the stat gathering and comparing to it to actually see where this vehicle is going. And I talked excessively also about the negative sides, like the bad gun handling, the rather long reload, which is much shorter than the 122mm in comparison, but it's still a long reload. It's not like the Vickers MBT with a 5-second reload. Yeah, you know where this is going, and it has armor if being shot at from enemies that, you know, try to clutch shot you on the move or don't know where to aim. And, you know, then what really annoyed me was Slick going into my comment section and criticizing me for having my own opinion, and then after a bit of discussion coming up with a sentence like, "Boy, the tank is poo-poo." Boy, the tank is poo-poo is not really what I would use for describing a tank. If this is Slick's approach for describing tanks, and subscribers of him like that, then so be it. I never will do just crushing into somebody else's comment section and trying to shit on them, to use a very polite word here. Now, I did that by videos from The Orange Doom, Myco's Boom, and Many Miles Away for good reason. So when they absolutely did something completely wrong, okay, I raised my voice. But I know those guys. I have spoken to them in the past for over a year, maybe even 2 years. I know those guys, you know, on a, you know, as personal level as possible without meeting them in real life. So yeah, it was by both Myco's Boom and also Many Miles Away regarding the IS-6, where they basically didn't do a very good job of showcasing where to shoot those tanks, and it was a bit of a tricky situation. And then they also changed their approach, and well, since then I like their videos. I watch them, and sometimes I give also some nice comments to them. For Orange, it's kind of the same, but it was not the IS-6, it was something else. So please keep that in mind. If somebody that you don't want to having to do something in the first place just comes into my comment section and tries to do that, I will first try the reasonable approach and, you know, talking with them. But then again, Slick is that kind of guy that just lets his opinion count. He never has the freedom of speech in mind, as far as I can tell from his way of approaching me. And this is the reason why I say here clearly, I don't want to start any drama. I don't want to any start of exchanging insults or something like that. Slick is just something, is someone that I just stopped caring about. So from time to time I watched some of his videos and I heavily disagreed with his opinion, but I never bothered to really crush into his comment section and stating that. And don't get me wrong, it's not the first time that Slick is doing kind of that thing. It's the first time they did it on my comment section. But what was free to interpret were some videos of him, you know, after I did some videos, and that was talking about the 6.3 lineup and saying that it is great, and also talking about the Ferdinand when comparing it to the IS-6 and its strength towards compared to the IS-6. And then there were follow-up videos by Slick, not directly respectively towards those videos, but it really felt like it. And I didn't say anything up until this point. And this is also hopefully the last time that I'm ever, you know, kind of forced to do so, because a lot of rumors starting, I got a lot of private messages, and I think I had to clarify it here. I don't want to start any fight with him, I just don't care about him anymore. Let him do his job. If you like his content, feel free to look it, to watch it and to look it up and to have fun with his videos. If you think that I, you know, make from time to time also decent videos, you are free to watch mine, and you can be subscribed or unsubscribed to both of us at the same time. It doesn't cost you anything. So I'm not here in a fight or something. I actually don't like doing this, but I just had to do it to clarify it, because so many private messages reached me and so many people were concerned that I now start a war, or Slick is starting a war. What Slick is doing is something that I don't care anymore, and that, you know, just doesn't interest me. So that's it for this week's episode, Duck Talks. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to know your opinion about certain things in the comment section. Do you disagree or agree with the copyright claims? Then were the answers for the questions from last Duck Talks sufficient? And what do you think about the World War mode and the Dunkirk event? Let me know that in the comment section. As usual, please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other on the waves, in the skies, and on the battlefields of War Thunder.